Yeah, I mean, as young as we are, every rep is a learning experience. And it'd be nice to be able to already have that learning in the bank, but we got to make those deposits every game, unfortunately, and so sometimes those are bad situations that we got to turn into good situations for the future. For example, Caleb having to cover the running back out of the backfield on the touchdown, and he did a really good job until right at the end, and he had never seen that before. So we got to be able to constantly pick the guys up to understand that as bad as they feel that they're letting the team down when they give up a play, that this is all part of the process of learning and growing. Our linebacker core is very young. It's almost exclusively first or second year guys. And our defensive backfield, we're pretty old, but once you get past the three seniors, we're all really young there too. We had sophomore and a freshman playing corner for us this week. We had another freshman come in and play some outside linebacker, and Justin Coleman. So you kind of add all those pieces in. We don't really match up real well physically with anybody quite yet, but I think we're going through this learning curve the right way, and we're keeping our heads up and doing all those things because we do know this is what we're building the future on. And the biggest thing that they're going to need is this off season, getting in the weight room and starting to develop as college football players. But I like where we're going to be. I don't like losing, but I like where we're going to be and where we're heading.
How about continuing with that? How did Destin and Latrell play?
Destin Hall had his first start of his college career, and he made a couple mistakes out there that were pretty glaring. But again, those are mistakes that he's got to be able to learn from. And once those live bullets are flying, Latrell also had a big missed tackle that ended up giving up a touchdown. But the thing I always tell our defensive backs is, Deion Sanders and Richard Sherman got beat deep too. Just nobody ever remembers it, and that's where we got to be. We got to understand what we did wrong, so then that way we can come back for the rest of their careers. And this is your learning experience. Now can we get better on it? And so then nobody remembers those plays that happened on Saturday.
Coach, how much does just straight up taking care of the ball better factor into your game planning? Now we got kind of a step back here from the Mankato game to Wayne State College.
Well, we've been, the early half of the season we were really good with our turnover margin. Not only did we protect the ball, but we were able to do a really good job of creating turnovers and getting those takeaways. And that's really eluded us here over the past 3-4 weeks, especially defensively. We just haven't been able to get that ball back for our offense, and that's critical for us. As we're growing and struggling offensively, we got to get the ball back to them as many times as we can. And offensively, we have to take care of the ball. I mean, one of our days in practice, our Wednesdays in practice, it's our whole theme is about the ball. Can we create a takeaway on defense and win the day, or offensively, can we hold the ball and not create a takeaway? So it's something that we have to be better at than what we were on Saturday. I think part of it gets chalked up to being behind, and we have got some guys that were forcing things that don't need to be forced. It's better to live to play another down than force a bad throw into one of those situations. Ben's fumble early in the game. I mean, if he doesn't fumble that ball, he's probably still running right now, and that could have changed the course of what was happening in that game. So it's one of those things that we also have to go through it too to be able to learn from it.
How important is it going to be to stick to all the defensive assignments across the board, considering the way that Moorhead runs things?
Well, Coach Lockaway's done a great job with that team over the number of years he's been there. They're in just about every game. Offensively, it's kind of a smoke and mirrors offense with everything that they can do. The quarterback has the ability to hand off, to pull the ball and run with it, or throw it on just about every play. So you have to be pretty disciplined with what you do. You got to really be able to go over. We've got 8 games to look at to really see how they've progressed offensively and what kind of rhythm they're getting into. And it's really a version of the triple option. So we have to be very strong with assignment football and not try to do too much and not try to do anything that's more than just our specific 1/11th of our responsibility on defense. If we can do that, we'll be in good shape. And last year we handled it really well for the first half of the game, and then it kind of got away from us last year too. So we just got to get back on it and keep our heads up and keep plugging away.
We've all seen how well Ben can run the ball from the quarterback spot. I mean, how sustainable is it where you have the quarterback being your leading rusher on Saturdays?
Well, I mean, it can be very sustainable. I think the thing is we need to be able to balance it where we've got a running back threat that can pop it, that a defense can't just key on our quarterback. I think Wayne State did a really good job of giving our quarterback the look of where he should pull the ball every time, and kind of taking it out of the hands of our running backs, and then be able to get those extra hits on the quarterback, which by the end of the game take their toll and eventually force the quarterback to throw balls that we shouldn't throw and try to avoid some hits like that. So it's going to be who we are. It's just a matter of getting better with all the pieces around him. So it's not just Ben running the ball. We've got the ability to throw. We got the ability to have somebody else tote the ball a little bit.
What is your level of concern with Ben's health as time goes on? Like, nobody wants to have like a Deshaun Watson situation where you just see him getting lit up all the time.
Well, I think we wanted to protect him on Saturday, and we ended up getting him out there towards the end, and so then the next man up's got to be able to come in and do some things. And we have a more veteran quarterback that comes in, and then Sharp made some bad decisions on some of his throws and turned it over. And again, he's trying hard. I can't fault their effort. It's just a matter of not really trusting how we want to do this. I mean, we want to be patient, and it's hard to be patient when you get down, and it's hard to be patient when you're so hungry to try to get that win again and all those things. But that's just part of the process, and we'll protect Ben as much as we can, and with it being a fine line, knowing that Ben's going to give us a great opportunity to win too if he's on. So it's a balancing act that we really have to juggle.
One of the things you pointed out on Saturday was one of the hardest things you're facing is just keeping the spirits up on this team. How do you go about doing that at this point?
Well, I think that's probably the biggest thing that we as a coaching staff are kind of paid to do right now is try to keep our heads up when we're losing some games, find the bright spots. It's really easy to come in and just harp on everything that's happening negative or the things that we're making our mistakes, and that's really was the message to the guys on Sunday was, we did a lot of good things, and unfortunately they get overshadowed with the bad things, and so we've got to be able to find those small victories so we can continue to build that, because we're still, like I said, we're still in that foundation building segment of our program. So we got to find those bricks to build on, and then just learn from our mistakes, and we can't sit and harp on them and just stay in there. And we will harp on them if we're not learning and we're not changing how we do things. But I think the big thing is just staying positive and keeping those guys up. I mean, college football is one of those fickle things that one week a team can get blown out, and the next week they can turn around and beat somebody pretty big. And it's just a matter of making sure we have that intrinsic motivation to want to go out there and fight for the next game.
Coach A, how has Donovan Moore performed? It's a difficult position to play, especially as a freshman and starting every game. And how has he played this year?
I think Donovan, he earned himself a starting position, which is a huge plus for him. He comes from a really phenomenal high school program. He's played a lot of high school games against top high school competition in the country. And so, I mean, mentally he's ready. Physically, just like any of our other freshmen, he's not where we'd want him to be, and that's not anything on him. He's going to give us the best chance to win. It's just that once he starts going against some of those big guys, and they really kind of attacked him personally on Saturday, in terms of just trying to get after him where they outweighed him and they outstrengthed him a little bit. And he's got to keep battling, and he more importantly, he's got to be the one that keeps his head up the most. I think he's the one that's taking it hardest. If he has a bad play or there's a failure that he can't do what he's been accustomed to doing in his career of having success, and he's going to be very he's going to love and benefit from our off season, because then he's going to finally be able to grow and get some strength on and be better prepared for next year. But for him, he's got to battle for 3 more weeks, and he's got to do the best that he can, and we know that. So it's we're not throwing him under the bus by any means and saying that he's a terrible player and doing terrible things. It's he's given us everything that we got, and that's the greatest thing to see.
This off season, probably particularly in the weight room, is that going to be as critical for your program as even like getting reps and playing games, getting in the weight room, getting bigger and stronger with these guys?
Yeah, I think our offseason this year is going to be more critical than last year, purely for the fact that we have so many freshmen and so many of them are already playing. So they're not gaining this redshirt season where they can be developing in the weight room this fall. And we've got a handful of kids that are redshirting that are doing that, but the guys that are playing for us and going to battle, they're just not able to grow. Their strength program is more of a maintenance program to keep them ready for the game on Saturday. So it's going to be crucial, one, to grow their bodies, but two, to now can we use the inspiration of the failures on Saturdays when they were young and all the beating up that they took, can they translate that into the weight room to really understand, okay, if I need to push myself 10 to say bench press 10 more pounds than what I think I can push, it's pretty easy motivation because you just got put on the ground by a 300-pound tackle. And for you, if you don't want that to happen again, you're gonna have to accelerate what you're doing.